No, definitely not.
Like, especially some women who they love just having deep conversations about emotions and feelings. I hate that.
And I hate men that like that. Yeah. You know what's so weird? I know, like, because sometimes I'll get clients and be like, she's an avoidant attachment and she's got these traumas and she's got that. And I'm just thinking, that's really feminine that you even know all of this. It's better that you just actually, you have to be somewhat emotionally, you have to be emotionally intelligent, but not too emotionally available. The other thing is the sex drive of your partner. If it's super high, they're not going to be loyal to you. In both cases, there's just not. It's better to be real with yourself. If you're a man that has a high libido, if you're a woman that has a high libido and you're getting into a long distance relationship, you're not going to be able to go 4-6 weeks, whatever it is. You've got to be honest with yourself before you enter a long distance relationship. In this day and age, people are getting really comfortable living alone. It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's the reality of it. If you feel like you're better off being by yourself, you're better off selecting somebody. If you want to have kids, but become a co-parent with each other rather than actually committing to marriage. If you don't like living with somebody and being with them all day, every day, maybe find a different way to build a family or build a home. But marriage isn't for everybody. And I tell everybody that, because sometimes I'll have clients that say, oh, my wife and I were trying again. And I was like, have you stopped cheating? No, I haven't stopped cheating. Have you stopped wanting to live separately? Have you started wanting intimacy? No, we haven't slept together yet. So how's it going for you? Like, what as a man that's dating, what do you need to how can I help you? Tell me.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to discuss was long distance relationships, because I find that quite interesting. I don't know if they can work. I feel like, so I did a bit of research on this to try and figure out if it could work, because I did meet someone last year based in Spain and tried to make it work, but there was problems, issues, as you know, it came to no surprise really. But one thing which I noticed is, if you start a relationship and you're already starting out the relationship from a distance, it's very difficult to kind of make it work. However, if you've been in a relationship for 6 months, a year, or whatever, and then there's a period of distance between you,
it's not a problem.
Yeah, you're in a much stronger position to make it work. And I realized that it's basically a case of, you need to have a lot of trust, a hell of a lot of trust, and communication is very important. There needs to be a lot of reassurance that you
have to get to a stage in a relationship where you owe each other loyalty. That can't happen when you just met someone, had a really great 2-3 weeks, and then you go your separate ways. You don't know if you owe each other loyalty yet. So once you've established that, like, payment plan, like, do we owe each other loyalty, it's not so problematic. But the key thing is that you have to know that you're actually committed to each other. And the other thing is the sex drive of your partner. If it's super high, they're not going to be loyal to you. In both cases, there's just not. It's better to be real with yourself. If you're a man that has a high libido, if you're a woman that has a high libido and you're getting into a long distance relationship, you're not going to be able to go 4-6 weeks, whatever it is. You've got to be honest with yourself before you enter a long distance relationship.
Have you ever been in that situation?
Well, we go back and forth, because it's London and Dubai, so we go back and forth, but it's never too long. It's
how long?
3 weeks, 2-3 weeks.
Yes, I think I've realized you need to see each other every 2 to 3 or 4 weeks push.
Yes, 4 weeks is a push.
If it's longer than that, it's what I've noticed is, it's like the spark dies a little bit.
Yeah, especially if you haven't established it properly before.
And then you meet up again, you reignite the spark, and then it just kind of goes.
Yeah, and your texts get boring and stuff like that.
It's like, how can you have these conversations and spice it up a little bit?
Yeah. And do you call a lot, or are you more of a texter?
Well, I'm terrible at texting, I think.
So do you call regularly?
Yeah.
With that, okay, so you do have your check-ins.
Yeah. And I think that's important. I think what was very interesting is, it makes a big difference if you video call each other.
Yeah.
Because that's a next level step up from just a voice call.
But why would you choose to be in a long distance relationship, considering you've got so many options and stuff? Why would you make that selection?
Maybe I caught the feels.
Okay, but maybe you prefer distance.
Well, this is one thing which is interesting, because with the distance, you
have a bit
appreciate each other more when you are together. And you actually miss each other.
Okay.
If you live, there's one thing I've noticed when couples live together, is they end up getting sick of each other, because they're always around each other, and they don't know what it's like to not be with that person. So I think it's healthy to have distance from each other. I mean, it could be a couple of days, I don't know, but to have the distance, it makes you miss them, and then you're together and it's like really good. You appreciate each other.
And you don't get like lonely or tempted during that time apart?
I don't get lonely because I'm
busy.
Well, I'm busy, and I've got to the point now where it might actually be a downside. Is I actually like living by myself.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with my own company.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm ever really lonely because I have a team of people who I work with. My job is it's quite social. I'm always
this is a problem with people in Dubai. I notice more than anything, because people who do get married and settle down very quickly and kind of go from relationship to relationship, it's not so much that they meet the love of their life or the person they love and want to spend the rest of their life with. It's more of a case of they're really uncomfortable with being alone, super uncomfortable. And if you don't have that in you, it becomes difficult to fully commit, because you have to compete with their life that they've created by themselves. And people in Dubai in particular, being alone is amazing. Like, you can get up and do whatever you want. It's not that same feeling. Whereas when I land in London and I see the weather outside, and I'm thinking, if I lived alone in somewhere like London, imagine having no social contact. You can't even go to the shops without.
I experienced that when I lived in London, particularly the first 2 years were. And I was in a long distance relationship at that point.
Yeah.
They were probably the loneliest 2 years of my life, because I'd gone from living in a household full of people since university all the way up until 26. And then I decided to make the move from Newcastle to London. And then that was the first time I'd ever lived by myself. And I hadn't prepared myself for what that would be like.
No,
and because I was in a long distance relationship, I didn't go out and socialize, because I was like, why do I want to go and put myself in this situation? I'll just stay at home and work. So my work went amazing. No distractions, completely focused. Social life, terrible.
When I land in the UK, I completely understand why people are in toxic relationships. I completely get it. Because in Dubai, if you're in a toxic relationship, you just end it and go enjoy your life. You go to dinners, you go out, you go that. You don't have time for this. And if you're in a toxic relationship, you might do it for a little while, but you end it, because there's so many alternatives. As soon as I land in the UK, I'm like, no wonder people stay with people they hate, because the alternative of being by yourself, it's cold, it's dark, it's miserable outside, you're not going anywhere, is also too difficult. So it's your environment also plays a big role in whether or not you commit to people. People think it's just you meet the love of your life, but you have to meet the love of your life and be uncomfortable with being single at the same time. You have to meet the right person and have a discomfort. If you are comfortable being single and meet the love of your life, it won't stick. So you need the balance of the two, the right person and a discomfort in your single life.
Well, what advice would you give to somebody who has lived alone for a very long time? They like living alone, but they get into a relationship, and that shift from being alone to living with someone can be a very big change. And they might not even like it. Would you suggest that it might be beneficial for those two people to have their own places in the same city?
What I always say to people, because in this day and age, people are getting really comfortable living alone. It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's the reality of it. If you feel like you're better off being by yourself, you're better off selecting somebody. If you want to have kids, but become a co-parent with each other rather than actually committing to marriage. If you don't like living with somebody and being with them all day, every day, maybe find a different way to build a family or build a home. But marriage isn't for everybody. And I tell everybody that, because sometimes I'll have clients that say, oh, my wife and I were trying again. And I was like, have you stopped cheating? No, I haven't stopped cheating. Have you stopped wanting to live separately? Have you started wanting intimacy? No, we haven't slept together yet. Then why do you want to be married? So it's okay to accept that maybe you don't want to be married. Maybe you think you should, but if you prefer living alone, if you prefer multiple partners, if you prefer doing your own thing, you're not really crafted for marriage. So it's better just to be like, maybe I don't want to be married, but I do want to have kids. Find someone you can co-parent with. Find an alternative rather than pushing yourself into marriage or relationships. It doesn't work anyway.
I think one of the things I've struggled with is just the partner understanding that I need a bit of space. I like time alone to think, reflect, plan, listen to podcasts, and just work. I think I've realized I'm the type of person that does not work very well when there's people around. If I need to
solitude,
zone in, I need to be alone. And often they could take that as a bit of an insult. They're like, oh, why doesn't he want to be around me? Why doesn't he want to spend time with me? And I think one thing I've realized is it's the type of people and what they want from a relationship. Like, if there is a clingy person or needy person that needs to be around their partner all the time, I am not the guy for you.
Do you remember last time we spoke about this? You have an avoidant attachment. Do you remember what that was? It's like you need your own space. You kind of you don't like emotional connection. But if a girl does want to bond with somebody like you, who's an avoidant attachment style, the better thing that they can do to get your connection is people with your attachment style. You bond more through problem solving and getting like working together than actually emotional, intimate conversations. So a conversation about feelings and where the relationship is going doesn't work well. But if it's a conversation about like, I've got this problem, what shall I do? Or we need to build something together, they're more likely to become attached to you.
Yeah.
So that's why some of the reasons why avoidant men end up with a lot of gold diggers is because gold diggers give them a lot of problems to solve. They'll say, my rent is due, my car is not working, my mum needs her bills paid because she's single. And they're like, okay, perfect. Now leave me alone. So they bond more when a woman gives them stress and they have to solve the stress and solve the stress. And even sexually, like give him some stress and he solves the stress. So if she's always enjoying it and is always up for it and always available, he'll lose sexual attraction to her. But if she's like, I need this more, I need that more, this is not good enough, blah, blah, he's actually more likely to bond with her than somebody who just pleasantly enjoys it.
Have you ever done the love language test?
Yes, yeah. What's yours? Space.
Acts of service.
You like a woman that gives you acts of service?
Yeah, but that sounds like weird. But it's somebody who would do something or take action that would help me out or make my life easier, like a thoughtful action. I noticed because when you do this test, you get asked all these questions, and these like getting words of affirmation. I don't really care about that.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
physical touch. I mean, I like a hug. It's nice to be intimate, but I don't need you to be touching me. So it's not that. I don't know what the other two.
Quality time.
Quality time. Yeah, that was quite
presence,
high.
And presence.
Don't care about presence.
Yeah.
Like if I get a gift, like I'm like,
what am I going to do with it?
I much prefer a thoughtful gift than her spending all her money on something because I don't need anything.
Okay, praise be to God. Yeah.
So
you like acts of service.
Acts of service. So that was quite interesting for me. And I think it's quite good for a lot of couples to do.
Yeah.
Especially maybe at the beginning, because then you figure out like
what
that person likes. Yeah. Like imagine, I'm getting to know somebody, she keeps buying me gifts.
Yeah.
And saying all these things, like complimenting me. I'm like,
yeah. Do you know what I would say is I'm the same way. I hate compliments. I almost feel like it's a bit like, okay, like let's get to a real conversation. This is a bit stupid. But people who didn't get a lot of compliments growing up and aren't told that they're attractive, they like die for compliments. So it's almost the cheapest way to impress somebody. Somebody with low confidence, give them lots of compliments. It's like a shortcut to getting attachment to them because they just get so attached to words. Whereas if you've already had, you're all right, you don't need someone telling you you're beautiful and you're attractive. It's almost a bit cringe. So I think people, especially when they're around attractive people, they think they need to remind them of that, but because they like it, but it doesn't mean anything to you. And do you know the other thing is people who don't like a lot of touch, it's usually because when they were growing, like didn't get a lot from family, kisses and stuff like that. So it's actually uncomfortable. Again, they bond better with problem solving, like here's a problem, let's solve it for each other, or let's be on a same team, than they do like kisses and hugs and stuff like that. So basically it makes you quite incompatible to a girl.
What?
Your love life. So like kisses and compliments, this is what girls usually like to do. Yeah. So do you find that you're closer to your male friends than you are around, is it like a brotherhood that you're more?
No, I like being
with women.
Yeah. But obviously it just depends like what we're doing.
Yeah, okay.
But it's interesting because as you said, like they would be treating me the way they want to be treated.
Yeah.
Which probably not always going to work.
No, definitely not.
Like especially some women who they love just having deep conversations about emotions and feelings. I hate that.
And I hate men that like that. Yeah. You know what's so weird? I know like, because sometimes I'll get clients and be like, she's an avoidant attachment and she's got these traumas and she's got that. And I'm just thinking, that's really feminine that you even know all of this. It's better that you just actually, you have to be somewhat emotionally, you have to be emotionally intelligent, but not too emotionally available. And what I mean by that is you can read when she's upset. You can read when she needs you. You can read when she needs kisses, hugs. You read her. But when you're too emotionally available, it's like you're almost joining in with her trauma, joining in with her stress. And it's almost a bit like you become like a sister. So I think they don't know the line between being emotionally intelligent and emotionally available, and they almost get too emotionally available and it becomes feminine.
Here's something I wanted to talk about. Protest behavior.
Yes.
Because I didn't know it existed.
Hi, I'm Sadia Khan, and you might know me as a leading dating coach in modern relationships today. I work with men every single day to help give them the blueprint of understanding relationships, women, attraction, and self-esteem. So if you are feeling stuck in your relationships and you want to unlock your full potential, work with me today by clicking on the link, and I look forward to hearing from you.